What up, YouTube? T Movies here. Here is my throwback segment video where I talk about the films that turned 10 and 20 this week. All right, the films that turned 10 this week includes the remake of Death at a Funeral, which is a remake of a 2007 British comedy. Which, by the way, Peter Dinklage was in that the British version, and he actually appeared in the remake. And if you guys don't know what it's about, for preparing for a funeral is never pleasant, but Chris Rock stars as Aaron, who is shaping up to be and this day is shaping up to be the worst day of his life, and he's having like a funeral for his father, but during that the worst day of his life, there's sibling rivalry, there's family meddling family members, strangers with big secrets and all. And it's directed by Neil LaBute and has a great cast. You got the likes of Chris Rock, Martin Lawrence, James Marsden, Regina Hart, Kevin Hart, Zoe Saldana, Danny Glover, Luke Wilson, Loretta Devine, Keith David, Columbus Short. This movie is hilarious. The British version was pretty decent, but I probably even prefer the remake. Chris Rock was great, Martin Lawrence, it was pretty cool seeing Peter Dinklage playing a similar character that he played in the British version. If you guys have not seen the recent remake of Death at a Funeral, I'll say give it a shot. It's a really funny one. All right. Also turning 10, we got the film The Joneses. Not to be confused with that Zach Galifianakis, Gal Gadot, John Hamm film, but this is a film that got released in 2010. And it's about when, as for posing for as an ordinary family, stealth marketers played by David Duchovny and Demi Moore ends up moving into a wealthy neighborhood and encourage the residents to spend a lot of money on. And it has a great supporting cast. You got Emma Heard, Gary Cole, the late great Glenn Hadley. This movie was pretty nice, pretty charming. David Duchovny and Demi Moore both were pretty great in this. If you guys haven't really seen The Joneses, it's a very underrated, very tragically underrated film. Go check that one out. Now, my favorite film that turns 10 this week. Death at Funeral was great. The Joneses was great. But my favorite one, and why I cannot believe this turns 10. The film that turns 10 is Kick Ass. Based on the comic book by Mark Millar, directed by Matthew Vaughn, who went on to direct X-Men, First Class, the Kingsman movies. He has Kingsman Going to Circle coming out this year. Kick Ass is straight up awesome. It's funny. You got Chloe Moretz as a hit girl. You got Nicolas Cage as Big Daddy. Chris Mintz-Plasse, Mark Strong. Aaron Taylor Johnson as the Tyrell of Kick Ass is great. I mean, heck, you got two Quicksilvers in this. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson and Evan Peters, who of course both went on to portray the role of Quicksilver. Everything about Kick Ass I just adore. I could watch this movie plenty of times. It's one of my favorite. Like, if it really wasn't for something like Kick Ass, we probably wouldn't even have Deadpool. To be honest, yeah. I'm not saying it really paved the way for Deadpool or anything, but man, Kick Ass is still straight up awesome. I mean, it shows that you could do a superhero movie without the superhero having superpowers, and what they were able to do with Kick Ass is just awesome. And the sequel I quite got a kick out of the sequel too, but nothing beats the first Kick Ass. I mean, I still love to see a third Kick Ass, but I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. But man, if you guys never really got a chance to check out the first Kick Ass, go check it out. One besides Deadpool, this is also one of the funniest R-rated comic movies there is. All right. Now the film's turning 20. We got 28 Days, which is about a hard-drinking New York journalist who takes her reputation as the life and soul of the party too far when she knocks over her sister's wedding cake and crashes the bridal limousine. But when a court orders her to rehab for a month, she instantly refuses. But eventually, she begins to take a substance abuse seriously. It's from director Betty Thomas, who also directed the Howard Stern movie Private Parts, and she's done some other stuff. 20 Days is actually her worst. It's well, the lead character played by Sandra Bullock is not all that likable. It wasn't really all that funny. It had some heart, but that's Sandra Bullock was okay, but she just wasn't like even she could save this film. And you also had a really good cast. You had the likes of Viggo Mortensen, Dominic West, Steve Buscemi, Diane Ladd, Margot Martindale. This is actually one not really as bad as most other not as bad as that or about Steve or anything, but I still never really got enjoy this. Sandra Bullock has better movies to check out, like whether Miss Congeniality is pretty great. Another one, The Blind Side, even Bird Box. But 20 Days, if you want to see a good movie with the word 20 days in it, just go watch 20 Days Later. That's a better one. All right, also turning 10, we got Keeping the Faith, which is about best friends who's been friends since they were kids. You got Rabbi Jacob Scaron, played by Ben Stiller, and you got this the father Brian Finn, played by Ed Norton, who are a dynamic and popular young man living and working on New York's Upper West Side. And you got Jenna Elfman, who portrays Anna Raleigh, who was once their childhood friend and now is all grown up into a corporate executive. And she ends up enter their lives and hearts with a adventures and sparks fly between them. And there's like a love triangle. It's also directed by Ed Norton, who last directed that movie Motherless Brooklyn. Keeping the faith, I must say. It's a pretty nice, charming rom com. Ben Stiller, Jenna Elfman was great. Ed Norton was pretty decent. They all had some pretty good chemistries. All right, now the best movie that turns 20 this week. It's obviously American Psycho, based on a book by Bret Easton Ellis, starring Christian Bale as gruesome serial killer Patrick Bateman, who's of course a young urban professor who's really at night is pretty much a serial killer. And you also got people like William Dafoe, who portrays a detective. Reese Witherspoon plays his Bale's fiance. You got Samantha Mathis as the mistress. You got Jared Leto as the coworker. I mean, heck, this had Batman and Joker in it. So there's that. You got Chloe Sevigny. I mean, this movie is just terrific. One of Christian Bale's best performance, like best non-Batman performance, really. Christian Bale plays Patrick Bateman with such range. He played that role really great. He was very terrifying. If you guys haven't really seen American Psycho by now, go check it out. American Psycho is terrific. All right, that's pretty much it. All right, now my favorite films, that turns 10 is obviously Kick-Ass, and my favorite film, like the film that holds out to me the most that turns 20, is American Psycho. But let me leave you guys. Which of these, which films stand out to you the most? Were you into the Death at Funeral remake? Were you into Kick-Ass, American Psycho? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here's T-Movie signing off.